Last Tuesday, Landon Mitchell shattered my new headphones, screamed he was the family's scapegoat, and got all his birthday gifts sold in retaliation. I watched in stunned silence as our parents posted them online while plotting to send him away. A stack of cash replaced my broken gift. That was the moment I realized my little brother had outgrown screaming. He'd become something far more dangerous, and no one saw it coming. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. When Landon bit our father's wrist over a candy bar at age 6, Mom's calm cracked for the first time. She froze, staring at the blood. He didn't cry, he smiled. The diagnosis came soon after conduct disorder. Our home shifted overnight. We ate in silence. Doors stayed locked. I started hiding my things. My diary became my only safe place. Even then, something told me this wasn't just childhood misbehavior, it was rehearsal. In 2nd grade, Landon convinced his teacher that our mom hit him with a belt. Tess BS came knocking. He laughed from behind the couch as she sobbed through questions. No marks, no evidence, but damage done. Trust afraid. Mom stopped hugging him in public. Dad kept receipts for everything. That's when I began to realize Landon didn't just lie. He studied reactions. He liked watching adults scramble, terrified of what he might say next. At 13, Landon smashed our neighbor's garden lights, then claimed Charles forced him in front of Miss S. Jen denied it, but her eyes lingered on him differently after that. Mom apologized profusely, offering to pay. Landon stood smirking, hands in pockets. That weekend, I found him Googling coercive control and minor rights. The word manipulation entered my vocabulary that day, not from school, but for my brother. He was learning faster than any of us. When Emma Price stopped coming over, I didn't ask why. Later, she admitted Landon had cornered her in the hallway, said things no 12-year-old should say. Her eyes wouldn't meet mine. I told Mom. She hesitated, then said, "He's just young." Emma drifted. So did I. I started double-locking my door. That night, I heard Landon whisper through the vent. She liked it. My skin crawled. Mom said he was just acting out. I knew better. Landon faked a fainting spell at school. EMs were called. Cameras caught him checking his reflection before collapsing. At home, he blamed migraines. Mom bought him blackout curtains. Dad missed 2 meetings installing them. Meanwhile, I got grounded for rolling my eyes. That night, Landon posted a cryptic message online. Some people only love you when you're broken. Dozens of likes. Teachers offered extensions. I failed my math test. Landon thrived. I faded. No one noticed. One night, Dad refused to extend Landon's curfew. In retaliation, Landon called the police, claiming verbal abuse. Officers arrived mid-dinner. Mom dropped her fork. I watched Dad's face contort as he explained it was just a disagreement. No charges, but something broke. Landon grinned. After they left, he said, "Bet you'll say yes next time." Dad did every time. Landon had figured it out. Fear wasn't just a weapon, it was a routine, and we played along. My 17th birthday, a quiet morning until Landon slammed the gift box from Charles against the wall. Shards of ceramic rained. "You always get everything," he screamed. Mom stood between us. Trembling, Dad stared at the floor. I reached for the broom, not the gift. That was the shift. Not his rage, but our silence. We no longer reacted. We endured. That night, Mom emailed a wilderness therapy program. Landon didn't know, but I saw her draft. The day the transport van came, Landon didn't scream. He watched us like a chessboard. When they cuffed him, he said, "You'll regret this." Mom nodded once, no tears. Charles stood in the hallway like a shadow. I sat on the stairs, gripping the railing until my knuckles went white as the van pulled away. I felt nothing. That scared me most. We'd finally acted, but too late. He'd already planted something far more dangerous. Doubt. 3 days later, Charles lost his job. Anonymous complaints flooded her alleging he hit Landon. Fake documents, no source, no proof, but the damage was done. Meanwhile, Mika Holloway, a social justice influencer, reposted Landon's abuse survivor story. Thousands shared. Photos of our house appeared in Reddit threads. Rachel Tran texted me, "Are you okay?" I wasn't. But who'd believe the girl with a brother in treatment and a father accused? Silence became our defense. Jake came over with an external drive. "You need to see this," he said. Landon had sent him a spreadsheet. People, secrets, triggers, every name in our family. Even Emma. Emma Price. Guilt over silence. Confide gently. He mapped our weaknesses like a general prepping war. Jake was shaken. He sent this like a gift. I printed it, taped it to my closet wall. Our lives reduced to vulnerabilities. This wasn't rebellion, it was strategy. We'd underestimated him entirely. Rachel showed me screenshots, fake DMs, twisted quotes from my texts, stitched into a story of jealousy and cover-up. Landon's burner account posted it all, tagged Mika. He called me the enabler. Emma got dragged in. My phone vibrated, non-stop death threats, demands. I deleted my socials. Mom quit Facebook. Dad started sleeping in the basement. Landon wasn't in our house, but he haunted it louder than ever. Not even Miles could mute his manipulation. A week later, Mrs. Ellen Chen slipped me a note. "He left something in your backyard." Beneath the deck, I found a sealed envelope with photos me at school. Emma at the bus stop, Jake in his car, dated, labeled surveillance. It wasn't just manipulation, it was control. My stomach dropped. He'd planned his exile, weaponized it. The photos went to the police. They called it concerning. That was it. Landon was still the victim. We weren't believed. Jake tried tracing Landon's online footprint, burner accounts, forums, encrypted chats. He found a Discord group, Survivors of Silence. Landon was admin. They traded stories, some real, some exaggerated. Landon positioned himself as a whistleblower. One post said, "They'll all wear masks eventually." Jake showed me his profile, my old diary quotes, my drawings, repurposed as trauma metaphors. I felt gutted. He'd stolen my pain, twisted it for clout. Even my grief wasn't mine anymore, it was his. Emma came back. Trembling, "He called me last night," she whispered. Landon had somehow gotten access to a staff phone. He apologized, said he missed her, that she understood him. She didn't respond, but the call shook her. I asked what he wanted. A reunion, she said. But he made it sound like revenge. That night, Emma blocked him, but her window stayed shut for weeks. We were all bracing for something, we didn't know what. Rachel found a hidden camera in her dorm clock. It wasn't hers. Her rock confirmed a visitor weeks ago, Jake, but Jake swore he's never been there. We confronted him, he panicked, then showed us a photo Landon sent him outside her dorm. Time's tempted. He deepfaked me, Jake said, voice breaking. Landon wasn't just manipulating people, he was rewriting reality. We filed another report. The officer nodded sympathetically. Deepfakes aren't admissible yet. The system lagged. Landon didn't. Charles snapped. He drove to the camp unannounced, demanding to see Landon. Staff refused. Charles threw the drive on their desk. He's not a victim, he's a strategist. That night we got a call. Landon accused Charles of harassment. The camp suspended visitation. Jake whispered, he wants isolation, it gives him power. We'd walked into a trap. Every reaction was part of his script. We weren't silencing him, we were giving him the spotlight he wanted. Mom changed tactics. No response, no comments, total silence. Charles moved into his sister's for space. I stayed. One morning, I found every family photo gone. Landon had emailed us a link, a revised history. I generated images of us smiling at events that never happened. A fabricated memoir. This is how I remember it. The site read, I cried, not from fear but from grief. Our truth was overwritten. Our memories, repainted by someone who never asked. The school counselor called Emma had passed out during gym, stress-induced. They said she hadn't slept in days. Her parents blamed our family. Rumors swirled. I sat by her hospital bed, whispering apologies I couldn't name. Emma blinked, whispered, he said you'd leave too. I stayed until sunrise. She didn't wake. Landon's fingerprints were invisible but they clung to everything. He didn't need to be here to haunt us. His absence hurt more than his presence ever did. I opened my old diary, now scanned, redacted, and quoted out of context online. I stared at the real pages, raw, uneven mine. Jake walked in, saw me crying. We fight back. He said, we make our version public. A website, evidence logs, real names with permission. We didn't slander, we documented. Within days, the tide shifted quietly. Mika deleted her post. One Reddit thread got locked. It wasn't victory, but it was something. A crack in his fortress. Mika emailed me, not an apology but a warning. He's trying to spin your site as revenge porn, she wrote. Attached was a screenshot of Landon's post. My family's doxing me to silence truth. It had 2,000 likes. I forwarded it to the lawyer Charles contacted. Document everything, she said. This isn't over. That night, I found our porch light unscrewed. A whisper of control returned, not proof, just presence, subtle, chilling, like he was watching again. Charles returned home, quiet, hollow eye. He handed me a printout court petition from Landon, requesting emancipation, claimed we were emotionally abusive, that Jake manipulated evidence. He wants distance, Charles said legally. I scanned the lines, lies, twisted truths. I felt a flicker, not fear, strategy. This wasn't a boy escaping abuse, it was a chess move. Gain control, cut accountability. I circled the date of the hearing on the calendar. Underneath, I wrote one word in red: fight. Emma testified, shaking but clear. He lied, manipulated, made me afraid. Rachel followed, reading Landon's Discord messages aloud. Charles and Mom sat beside me, hands clenched. The judge listened. Landon, by video call, stared blankly. When asked if he fabricated stories, he said, truth is subjective. The room held its breath. The judge ruled against emancipation for now. Landon's face didn't change, but his eyes twitched. A crack, not victory but his mask slipping, and we saw it. After court, Jake handed me a SPIF from Rachel, Landon's voice memo to her, unedited. I hesitated, then played it. I never meant to hurt anyone, but they started it. They made me feel small. So I made them feel invisible. His tone was calm, measured, not remorse, calculation. Rachel gave legal consent to release it. We uploaded it, no edits, no commentary, just his voice. That was the turning point. Truth stripped of performance hit harder than rage. Online backlash began slowly. Threads reopened, users retracted support. Mika riposted, we believed too fast. A therapist blog dissected Landon's memo. Terms like narcissistic mimicry surfaced. He wasn't painted a monster, just exposed. That mattered more. At home, we still locked doors, avoided certain streets. But something shifted. Emma smiled again. Rachel joined a support forum. Jake stopped flinching when phones buzzed. It wasn't over. But the silence that followed wasn't fear, it was space to breathe. To begin, Mom unpacked old boxes, photos, letters, the ceramic birthday gift Landon once shattered. She glued it back together, slow and careful. It's not about erasing him, she said. It's about not letting him erase us. That line stayed with me. I repainted my room. Emma picked the colors. Rachel brought cookies. We laughed, real messy laughter. Not despite him, because of us. Because survival wasn't just safety, it was reclaiming joy. Even in fragments, especially in fragments. Jake hosted a bonfire. No agenda, just heat, light, and laughter. I tossed Landon's fake memoir printouts into the flames. Pages curled, cracked, vanished. Not closure, just action. Emma sang softly. Rachel danced barefoot. Charles joined us late, eyes softer. Mom sat beside me, her hand over mine. We didn't talk about Landon. We didn't need to. That night wasn't his, it was ours. And in that flicker of warmth, I felt something return, possibility. Looking back, the turning point wasn't when Landon left, it was when we stopped letting fear dictate our choices. Silence used to be our shield. Now it's just quiet. I wake without flinching. Mom drinks coffee in the kitchen again. Emma's laughter doesn't feel borrowed. Rachel texts me memes. Jake's building a podcast. Charles applied for a new job. Healing didn't come with a headline. It came in routines. In stillness, in the absence of walking on eggshells. Some days I still check the locks twice. Trauma doesn't vanish, it morphs, but I'm learning to name it, not run. My diary is full again, no redactions, no edits, just truth. I reread old entries, sometimes crying, sometimes laughing. Landon's chapter isn't closed, but I've stopped writing around it. My story's bigger, stronger, not built on survival, but on choice. We don't owe anyone our silence, and I won't give mine away, not to guilt, not to ghosts. Landon's petition was permanently dismissed. The court cited manipulation, coercion patterns, and emotional harm to multiple parties. It didn't fix the past, but it protected the future. Charles found work at a nonprofit. Emma and Rachel started a peer group for digital abuse survivors. Jake's podcast aired its first episode, Believing the Unseen. And me, I signed up for a creative writing course, not to tell this story but to own my voice again. Our family isn't healed, but we're unafraid. Last week, I got a letter. No return address, just a line: you always like control. I burned it, no ceremony. No panic, just choice. Landon doesn't define me. Not anymore. Our locks remain not out of fear but habit. We make Sunday dinners, awkward but consistent. The porch light stays on, not for him but for each other. For safety, for presence. This isn't a fairy tale ending. It's reality, and in it, I choose truth, community, and a life louder than silence. Thanks for watching. Subscribe because I believe every story hides a truth, and sometimes just listening can change everything.